Hey guys, welcome back to another snapshot video. Today's snapshot actually changes quite a lot, but mostly in the background. I've been told there have been over 10,000 lines of code that got changed, but most of it affects stuff in the background, how dimensions work, etc. But there's also a couple convenience features that got added, and there's always some bug fixes. Let's take a look at the changes to Redstone, the snapshot first. Don't be worried, nothing got broken with, we just get a bit more functionality. So a couple snapshots ago, the texture of the redstone dot got changed to the redstone cross. And this snapshot we actually got the dot back with different functionality. You can now switch between the cross and the dot by right-clicking it. If you want to place a block on top, now you need to shift-click in order to do so. Right, so what's the difference between the cross and the dot? The cross actually powers neighboring blocks like the piston here, and the dot doesn't. So here we have an example. So this redstone cross here powers this piston that is adjacent. If I switch to the dot, then it doesn't power it anymore. But since the block here is getting powered by the dot on top, those two pistons are still extended. So by changing between dot and cross, only the adjacent blocks are affected. Here we can also power the piston through a block, and you can also toggle here in between. It's also interesting that the dot still sends updates to neighboring blocks, despite not being able to power them. So we can see that here, when I turn on or off the dot, this block update detector also is getting triggered by that. We can also detect the block state change of the dot using an observer. So this could also be used as a switch, for example. By the way, if you try to have two redstone dots right next to each other, that doesn't work. If you place the other redstone dust here, then it would form a line. You can also not right-click the redstone dust line and convert it into a dot. Overall, I think this feature, switching between the dot and the cross, might be in rare cases exactly what you need, but overall won't be a huge game changer, but in some cases it might be exactly what I need. So in case you want to power something below the block but not on the side of it, obviously you would want the dot. So in some cases it might be helpful. There's also a minor change to piglins. So while they're holding the gold ingot in their hand, they shouldn't be damaged by the player, because if you do so, then piglin immediately puts the gold ingot away and doesn't give you anything in exchange since you betrayed its trust. There's also a minor change to fishing, because the lily pad got moved from the treasure category into the junk category. So in order to get treasure, you need the open water conditions, which broke a lot of the old AFK fish farms, but you can still use the old AFK fish farms to get fish and items out of the junk category. So in case you need a lot of lily pads, in a renewable way, for example in Skyblock, can now fish for them with the old school AFK fish farms. Now let's take a look at some of the changes in the background. So most of them would affect world generation. It's now possible again in an early experimental stage to create custom worlds. Additionally, it's also now possible to create worlds with additional dimensions, etc. But you can't really do this in-game at the moment, so there are no settings for that. You need to create a JSON file and basically need to know some coding in order to do so. There's also a couple of stuff that you can already use without the coding knowledge. So you can export the world generation settings. So if you have a flat world, etc., you don't need to do this every time manually. You can just export the world generation settings, and the next time you create a new world, you can import those. So it's in more world options, and then you can click on import settings and you can select a file. So basically the custom world settings can now also be imported like a texture pack file. It will be exciting to see what the community comes up with this powerful feature. There's also a really important fix to an older bug that makes fast obsidian farm a possibility again. So in versions 1.8 and lower, we made obsidian farms by shooting an item through an end portal block. And on the other side, that item would regenerate the platform. So we always get new 5x5 of obsidian, and if you use a wizard in order to break those obsidian blocks, you can make a really fast obsidian farm. In 1.9, that got nerfed. Now the condition was that only the player going through the end portal would regenerate the platform. And for example, a pet, like a wolf or so that is sent before the player through the portal block, could fall in the void. And this got changed back. And now any item going through the portal would regenerate the platform, and obviously we can make fast obsidian farms again using that mechanic. The old farm concepts from a couple of years ago in general still working then again. The wizard got slightly changed, so that might need to be adjusted a little bit. But yeah, apart from bartering, which we have now in order to get obsidian, we can also make those really efficient obsidian farms again. Unfortunately, this was only fixed for the end portal. So the nether portal mechanics are not affected by this change. So here we got a little contraption as well that sends items through the nether portal. Let's go to the nether side. Should be able to see them arriving. Yep, right there. If I would break an obsidian block now, it doesn't regenerate the nether portal, unfortunately, like it did in 1.8 and lower as far as I can remember. And I also think the items are at the moment completely lost since they don't arrive on the other side. So I hope this will also be fixed for the nether portal at some point to get the old behavior back completely. And here we have another smaller bug fix. Previously it wasn't possible for ancient debris and nether gold ore to generate between the basalt blocks. So this mostly affected the basalt delta biome, but this is now a possibility, and here we have the best example for that. And we have one more important change that affects farming. In the previous snapshot, the ability of mobs to spawn inside of wither roses was removed, since the wither rose would damage those mobs immediately. But this also included wither skeletons that wouldn't be harmed by the wither rose. And this got changed in today's snapshot. So now wither skeletons can spawn inside of the wither roses, other nether fortress mobs can't. That of course makes it possible to make a wither skeleton only farm. So this is definitely exciting news for wither skeleton farmers. You can definitely make much more efficient ones. So that's it for this week. I'll be back with more videos soon. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.